Hello, YouTube fans, here again. And as you already know, when I was doing Saturday Night in the Movies, it inspired me because there's a film coming out called I Paid Walker. So I'm going to do sort of a biography, a little bit of sci, but more to do with the Walkie films than anything else. Because without the Walkie films, we would have had the man himself, being Sylvester Stallone. Hopefully you can hear me because I've got my little dog today downstairs barking. But hopefully you can hear me. Anyway, so I'm going to start with this. This one's going to be called I'm Walker. How's that? I am Walker. Because I'm not, but this is going to be just this one. And then I'm going to do the proper review of Walker. And yes, last and diggles, I'm going to do the porno version of Walker. No, I don't know that they did do a porn version of Walker, but I'm on about the one that Sylvester Stallone did. Because early 70s, believe it or not, yep, Sylvester Stallone did a porn. It was soft porn called Party at Titties. I'm not making this shit up. You can look it up. Look up the history of Sylvester Stallone, and there was an actual soft porn what Sylvester Stallone did when he was starting out called Party at Titties. But in the late 70s, I say 78, when Rocky was making it big theatrical and theatrical police, they discovered that Sylvester Stallone did an adult movie. That word was so excited. He did an adult movie called Party at Titties, and to make money on it, they altered the name, and we all know the character was called the Italian Stallion, which always been Rocky Balboa, and they called it the Italian Stallion. Sai sponsored it, made a bit more of that than what he did when he did his adult film. You know, he was down on his luck. The rest is history, you can look it up. So I'll probably do that and all for laughs and diggles. So we're going to go with I Am Rocker. Simple. Sylvester Stallone, now it's more about the film before I get into the review of the film. Sylvester Stallone, he was down on his luck and also did the adult movie Party at Titties before it became, well, just rewind back what I just said. And he's trying to make it big. He did a lot of films, you know, he did Danster films. He was in the film, remember rightly, Death Race 2000, but he was never the lead. Death Race 2000, David Charity was the lead character. And, you know, he talked a bit like that. You know what I mean? He was sewing his lips and, you know, he had his Italian accent and so on. And he written this idea, he written a story about a boxer down on his luck. He was a boxer fighting in clubs, you know, basically he was a bum, as it says in the film. And this big boxer does that being Apollo Teed wanted to do him a chance, wanted to have him in the ring, and Bucky thought he's never going to win. This is a big tampering fighter. He's a bum fighter, fights in clubs. He's never going to win. He's never going to succeed in life. But if he went the distance, it would make something. And it inspired Sylvester Stallone of a real life fighter who had to fight with not Apollo Teed, the famous boxer himself. I fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That's his Che. And again, he never won the fight, but he went the distance. And this is what inspired Sylvester Stallone to write this book. And the Rocky, the name Rocky, was done by Rocky Marciano, the famous fighter, Rocky Marciano. He altered the name, got it Rocky Balboa, and the rest was history. But trying to get it into a film, a lot of companies wanted it. You know, Foxes wanted it, Warner Brothers wanted it, MGM was open to it. They wanted it. They wanted it. They thought it was an interesting story about a down and out fighter, but they didn't want Sai to pay it because Sylvester Stallone wanted to pay the character. He wanted to pay Rocky. None of them wanted him. They rejected him. Some of the actors you will not believe who they wanted as the man Rocky Balboa. Someone pulls me in the face. They wanted Marlon Brando. They wanted Burt Reynolds. They even wanted Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood kind of did a fight film a couple of years later, that being anyway, but use. But they wanted all these actors to play the role of Rocky. They did not want Sylvester Stallone in the role. And he fought and he fought. He went to studios to get that role. He really did wanted to get that role, Rocky Balboa. So at one point they said we'll keep the budget, so they even cheapened the budget to Walker. They were paying loads of money to do the film, but he would not star in it. Sylvester Stallone would not budge because he wanted to play that role. He didn't just want to write the film, write the book. He wanted to star as the man himself, Rocky Balboa. So they said, okay, but we're going to pay you less money. So basically, they would have paid him peanuts. So he got the role. And he fought so hard to get that role. He got the role. So in 1976, the movie was going to get made. The producers were going to find other actors. You know what I mean? You had the Penguin himself from Batman, the TV series. Remember, I had Burt Lung as, Mick. And you had other actors who would follow on. Now, the next one of those would be Charles Weathers. Sylvester Stallone had all these people to audition for the role for the character Apollo Creed. Then Charles Weathers come in. They did an audition fight, and very funny story this. Charles Weathers really did this Sylvester Stallone a left hook. Really hit him really hard, and Sylvester Stallone said, "Whoa, what do you think you're doing? This is acting." And Charles Weathers said, "Let me know when you're going to get a real actor to play the role." He didn't know at the time that this was the man, Professor Stallone. He was the star, Walker. So it's that a funny story, and I think Sylvester Stallone was impressed by that, and he said, "No more looking for Apollo Creed. There's your man. That's Charles Weathers. May the man rest." So that would tell us for them another making of another day actor. You know what I mean? Without Charles Weathers in the race, you wouldn't have had any of the other Rockies. You wouldn't have had Action Jackson. You wouldn't have had Predator. You would have had it all. So I was getting that made another name. And so on. So, he did that. They worked on it for days. The scene where he was doing a jogging scene, the running scene, and he ran up the stairs and he was worn out. They did another scene where apparently he seen a homeless person and he was dying. And he was one of the people who used to have a fight with Rocky when he was fighting in Chubbs. And he told a story before he died. That scene was so sad, so depressing, they deleted it straight away. Deleted that scene. The scene's never been seen since. Whether there's any truth in that or it's made up is a different story. But yeah, so Sylvester Stallone, he worked on Rocky. He had the date theme tune, that scene, and so on. Now I do know when he was working on Rocky, the ending, what we all know, Adrian. That ending was totally utterly different. Originally, he was going to sell for Adrian. Old Adrian's hand, it was going to walk off. It was going to fade to black. The end. But Sylvester Stallone, again, he didn't like that ending. He felt that ending would have been a bit downbeat. It would have been a bit depressing. So he does get the ending, what we all know, Adrian! He shouts that, and Adrian runs along, and then on purpose had a bit of string, and it pulled her hat off. And he wrapped his arms around Adrian, and end of movie. Now, it does, there weren't going to be sequels. There was not going to be a Rocky 2, even though it was mentioned in the film. We're going to have a rematch. I don't want one. But I does, money talks. So just as this went on, we had Rocky 2, more money, Rocky 3. So they go on. Because really it was going to be a standalone film. Rocky was not going to have a Rocky 2, it wasn't going to have a rematch on all the other ones. It wasn't. I don't mind as a standalone film. I do actually like Rocky 2, so I'm going to be through them all. I'm on a roll. I'm on a round. So, 1976, nobody had faith in Sylvester Stallone. People didn't think the film was going to rub off. And it did. It did rub off. It won an award in 1976. We all know it won an Emmy Award. Sylvester Stallone won an award for playing the role. And he went through a lot. When he did this film, he went through a lot. There's a funny story that when he was going to have the fight scene, the fake busted nose Sylvester Stallone had and the black eye. He lost it. Whole things, he lost it. And he only had sort of one. If this went missing, the fuck, there was that low and buds it. So he went for hours and hours looking for his fake busted nose and his fake black eye, and out of luck he found it. Can't remember no way he found it. It was in a bin or even accidentally. I think it was accidentally put in a bin. He found it. Beautiful. And I mean, there's lots of funny stories like that. Like there was a funny story that Carl Weathers, Sylvester Stallone, they were, doing the fight scene, and they was practicing you hit me there, I'll hit you there, you hit me near the side of my chest, I'll hit you there. But on the day, they literally almost forgotten the fight scene. I'll shit you not, they've forgotten who is hitting who. So some of the scenes you see when they in the boxing ring, it was improvised. Believe it or not, some of that scene with Sylvester Stallone and Carl Weathers was improvised. But it rubbed off. I don't think it's one of the best fights, you know what I mean, compared to what you see in number 2, number 3, even number 4. But I still think it was not a bad fight. I mean, there's a famous scene where he cuts his eye and you can see it was fake foam, fake blood, you know what I mean? But for what they did and what they had to work with, you can see the work, you can see the effort in what Sylvester Stallone did. You can see he rubbed off. It made him a star. And just like I said, repeat myself, the film won an Emmy Award in 1976, rightly so. It made numbers of sequels, and it made the man himself, Sylvester Stallone. Without Rocky, you would not have had Sylvester Stallone. Hollywood wasn't even going to touch Sylvester Stallone. They weren't. They wanted Marlon Brando, they wanted Clint Eastwood. You'd be surprised, I know they just said all that, but they did not want him. And I'm happy he got that. It was a big break for him. The film is now a classic. I love the film. It has an art on its sleeve. I love the love story with Adrian. I love the love story with Rocky. Yeah, I'm Rocky. That's round 1. I'll probably do a review of the Italian Stallion because it's very funny as anything. I'll then do a review on the man himself, being Rocky, the film this time, not just a biography of the film, and so on. But until then, be smart, be safe. That's round 1. I'll see you later.